Hello everyone, my name is Will. I thank you all for 3,000 subscribers, and I know this is a little outdated, but this is my Draw My Life. To start off, I was born September 14th, 1986, in Toms River, New Jersey. I was one of the happiest babies that's ever been born in that hospital. I am actually the youngest of 5 siblings. I have 3 half-sisters who are older than me, my oldest being Christine, then Colleen, then Tracy, 1 full brother named Chris, and then me, who is about 3 years apart from my brother. Round about when I was 2 years old, we had a pool in the backyard. I don't remember all the details for it, but I actually fell in and I started drowning. My brother, who I think was 4 at the time, told my sister that I was drowning, and she came and pulled me out of the pool. When I got to the hospital, I actually clinically died. I think it was clinically dead for 5 minutes, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure, but from what I was told, and me being as young as I was, I couldn't remember, so I think it was 5 minutes. Now, I started school when I was 3 years old, into when I turned 4. I was actually too immature for my age, but I was very happy to go to school at the time. Due to my immaturity, I actually was left back in kindergarten. Even though at the time, I really didn't know, but I felt very depressed and I felt like I didn't matter in the world. So, I had to take kindergarten again, but I passed it. And I guess my maturity really hasn't changed. In the 3rd grade, I actually got my first honor roll, and I was very accomplished, very, very happy. However though, once the 4th grade hit, I ended up becoming the laughing stock of the school. Everybody hated me, everybody wanted to make fun of me. It's all because my mom made me William Joseph, or nickname BJ. She must have been on some hardcore drugs, or some stupid shit like that, I don't know. As time went on, my grades started to slip, and I just didn't care anymore. I mean, really? I mean, what did I find the purpose of going to school because everyone was making fun of me? So, therefore, I turned my attention to video games. The first system I ever owned was a Nintendo Entertainment System, and I used to play Mario Brothers a lot. And I've only beaten the game once, and this is when I was an adult. So, but I progressively loved video games. But in addition to that, I also was a big fan of music. I mean, I loved to play drums, I loved trance music, house music, anything that was like, can get you up on your feet and dancing, that sort of thing. And as I grew older, I ended up going to a lot of raves, you know, like a lot of like trance music, that sort of thing. And yet again, I was still really the laughing stock, so I would always just sit by myself and, you know, just kind of do drugs, and it really wasn't a highlight of my life, but that's just what I did at the time. I think it was around 12 or 13 or something like that. Now, years later, when I turned 16, I met my first love. Her name was Melissa, and we actually met through Dance Dance Revolution. Weird. When I turned 17, my mother actually kicked me out of my house. I had nowhere to go for 3 days, I believe it was. So, I ended up moving in with my next door neighbor. They took me in, fed me, that sort of thing. And then, later on that year, I ended up finding that I had to find out, since my parents were divorced, that it would have been best for me to go live with my father, which was up north. So I was about an hour and a half away. I was still dating Melissa at the time. I mean, she completely understood that I was living in a bad environment, so I had to move. In 2005, Melissa and I broke up. I went through a very tough time, was depressed, and that sort of thing. 2005, I graduated high school. I was very happy because in my hometown, not everybody graduated from high school, so I felt like it was an accomplishment. For that summer, I actually was allowed to move back home to my mom's house. and I actually found a job to where I was doing landscaping. So at least I had an income and that sort of thing. In 2005, in August, I met my first fiance. Her name was Caitlin. And if you notice that devious little smile, there was a reason behind that. So, yeah, it was not all cracked up to be. So then, 2005 September, I actually was enlisted in the Navy. So, later on in 2006, Caitlin and I couldn't do the long distance relationship, so we broke up. 2007 arrives, and I did my first tour over in Iraq. I was in Al Asad, and to tell you the truth, it was actually pretty fun. 2008 in February, I got to go home. And I was very happy to be home because I finally turned 21, and it was just a good time. 2009 rolls around, and I went back home to New Jersey. And I got to see my friends and that sort of thing. But the only thing was that all my friends were a bunch of stoners, and I didn't feel like I wanted to be left out, so I did drugs again, and it was just not a good time. While over in Iraq, I got introduced to YouTube. So this is back in 2007. So a friend of mine from one town over from where I used to live used to do YouTube videos. I thought it was awesome, so I just said, hey, why not give it a shot? I made a couple videos, too bad they're forever gone, and everybody seemed to get a laugh out of it, so I figured I'd keep doing it. In 2011, Valentine's Day to be exact, I met my current fiance, Jennifer. I fell in love with her practically the day that I met her, and I wouldn't change anything about that. She truly is the love of my life. And since then, she has encouraged me to try new things, and even allows me to try to do YouTube, which I am currently doing now. So, thank you again for 3,000 subscribers. I love you all. Stay awesome.